Today, we are going to read the story, Planting Stories, The Life of Librarian and Storyteller, Pura, Belpré. See that down here? When we read together on this journey, we are going to pay attention to our thinking as I read. I'm going to tell you today that there is nothing more important than your thinking while you are reading. We are going to share our thinking as we read this beautiful story. As we read on this journey, I want you to pay attention to something that all readers have, an inner conversation with the text. It happens to me as I read. So as I'm reading the text, I'm thinking things in my head. I'm not just reading. I'm also thinking. I have a voice inside my head that speaks to me as I read. It's a quiet inner voice, not a speaking out loud voice. Have you ever noticed this voice inside your head speaking to you as you read? You ever notice that you're thinking while you're reading? Okay. I can tell by the looks that some of you have and your answers that you know what I'm talking about. We know that thoughtful readers pay attention to their inner conversation as they read and take time to listen to that thinking. And today as we read, it's going to be like solving problems as we read. Pay attention to your thinking, okay? I can't wait to hear your brilliant thoughts. Are you ready to do this journey together?
Yes.
Awesome. This story is an inspiring story of a young girl who faced a big problem, but she finds a way to make a change. Who knows what inspiring means? Does anybody know what inspiring means? It's okay, just think. Don't cry, what do you think?
It's where you have somebody, like, you know somebody in there, and they have they're really cool, and you want to be just like them.
That's perfect. It's somebody that you see and you want to be just like them. They inspired you to be like them. That's great, Kamaya. When I look at the cover, I notice a woman reading to children outside of a library. I think this is Pura Belpré. What do y'all think? Storyteller Pura Belpré, don't it make sense for that to be her?
Because if you look, you see the name.
You see Pura on there. That's good, Kamaya. I also notice flowers are growing out of her book. I wonder what planting stories means. This book uses both English and Spanish words. If you hear a word that you make a connection to, feel free to share it. I know Mateo is kind of our Spanish expert and he's not here, but if you hear a word that you heard before, let me know, okay? And tell me what it means, because I don't speak Spanish. And I'm going to do my best to say the words, but I might not say them perfect. So if you know a better way, feel free to speak up and tell me, okay? Okay. I told you you're going to see these sticky notes, but y'all don't worry about them, okay? When I look at the pictures, I notice how colorful this page is. The buildings are colorful, the sky and ocean are blue. I notice flowers are bloomed and they are reading outside. When I look at this page, I feel peaceful and happy. They seem to be enjoying the open air. Don't you think they're happy over here? Enjoying that open air?
Yeah.
Okay. It is 1921. Pura Teresa Belpré leaves her home in San Juan for a visit to Nueva York. Words travel with her. Stories her abuela taught her. Cuentos folclóricos Pura retold in the shade of a tamarind tree in Puerto Rico. Does anyone know what Cuentos folclóricos means? Does it look like a word we've seen before? Right there it is. Does that look like a word you might have seen before? Folk, like folk what? We kind of talked about it a couple of days ago in class. Folk
Tales.
Folk tales. That's exactly what it means. It means folk tales or stories. Good job. Let me get these out of here.
The sticky notes out.
That's okay. Ignore the sticky notes. They're mean to me sometimes.
Okay.
Now a new island stretches before her, ripe for planting seeds of the Cuentos she carries. I notice how she is looking out to the new place of New York. It looks like she is looking towards a new adventure. Do you kind of see that? When I'm doing something new or going to a new place, I sometimes feel nervous, excited, or hopeful. I wonder if she feels this way. We'll have to see. Yeah, maybe. Manhattan, a city of hustle and bustle. Bigger, louder, crowded, yet alive with hope and possibility. What began as a visit to celebrate her sister's wedding becomes the first steps to a new land. Y una vida nueva for Pura. I remember the scene of Pura's name, home. I recall it was colorful, blooming, and very welcoming. This page is giving me a different feeling. I'm glad she still has her hope. Do you remember our first page? Everything kind of was colorful, and now it's kind of looking not so colorful. Yeah. So I'm hoping that she's still, my inner voice is hoping that she still is having that hope that she had at the beginning. She works first in a garment factory, but it is cold floors and hard edges, not the soft, fertile ground where seeds take root. I heard the words cold and hard used to describe their factory. She then states that in order for something to grow, the ground must be soft and fertile. I wonder if she will be able to turn this around. We'll have to see. Then a golden opportunity. Una bendición. The library needs a bilingual assistant. Pura speaks Spanish, English, and French. She is perfect for the job. This book has such vivid pictures. I notice Pura is looking out the window towards the library. What do we notice about the library? Over here's the library. What do we notice about the library, Maya?
There's you can see that the library has flowers.
Flowers? Maya, did you see that? Or is that kind of what you're thinking too?
It's not colored. Well, right there, you see these. And most libraries, you know, have like kind of this.
This is really right. So Maya noticed these flowers growing out. I think we need to hold on to that, okay?
Just like that.
What does bilingual mean? Does anybody know?
Another assistant.
Not quite. Bilingual.
That's
It says she spoke Spanish, English, and French, so that made her perfect for the bilingual job. So what would
maybe
bilingual mean?
some kids don't understand their language, so she might be able to like read books to them so they can also enjoy it.
In their language, right? So bilingual means you can speak more than one language. Mateo's bilingual. Is anybody here bilingual? Anybody else speak more than just English? You do? Ruby's bilingual. You do? You're bilingual. You do? Awesome. That's so cool. I'll put this up. When I look at this library, I notice how all of the people are adults. The colors are pretty dark, and this doesn't feel like a fun place to be. Would you feel welcome here? In this library? Why?
Because the colors of the books. Like, look at those long books. There's only adults here who look miserable.
Adults here that look miserable, I agree. There's not really much fun going on, is
They're
there?
grumpy.
They are grumpy.
Look at his face.
He looks almost asleep, doesn't he? His eyes are closed. Have you ever been sleeping reading a book?
What about
Yeah.
hers?
Yeah, they're not too happy, are they? Okay. But where are her abuela's stories? Not one folktale from Puerto Rico is on the shelves. How lucky for the library that Pura has seeds ready to plant and grow. Pura is noticing that there are no stories about her or where she came from. I wonder what she's going to do about it.
She's gonna find some books that write some books that she knows.
You think she's going to write some books that she knows?
And that from Puerto Rico to make the library like bloom and stuff.
That's a great thought, Kamaya. What do we think story seeds ready to plant and grow means?
Like ready to.
Because she says, how lucky for the library that Pura has story seeds ready to plant and grow.
Like amazing books and stuff.
Like
to
amazing
give away.
books? I like your thoughts. I love your thoughts. In the children's room, she lights the story hour candle and begins. Her eyes dance and her voice sings. I read her eyes dance and her voice sings. What does it mean if someone's eyes are dancing or their voice is singing? How do you think they feel? What do you think?
She's like joyful to tell stories and stuff.
Joyful, yeah. Riley, do you have a thought? Her eyes dance, her voice sings. She's happy to read the kids. She's happy to be reading them, right? Why do you think she feels this way when she's reading a book from her culture? Come on, what do you think?
Because she wants other people from here to know about her culture and stuff. Like what they got to do and stuff.
She's happy to share her culture with people who've never experienced it, right? Feels like home. What do you think, Miley?
Because she wants the kids
So right now, everybody
enjoy
your hands are down. You're facing forward.
She wants them to enjoy them. She wants to enjoy her culture. Do you think she felt this way when she was reading the other books in the library that weren't her home books?
They were like, no, she probably thought they were mostly gloomy. They didn't have much pops in them. They didn't really have anything that's interesting.
Do you think she felt that same connection to them since they're not about her? You don't think so? I don't think so either. Pura's words paint a picture of a little house with a round balcony, where Martina, a beautiful Spanish cockroach, meets Perez, a handsome, gallant mouse. El ratoncito Perez y la cockroachita Martina, a tale from the tamarind tree. When Pura's story is done, each child makes a wish on the candle, and with a wisp of air, whoosh, la vela is blown out. Now Pura has a wish too, to plant her story seeds throughout the land. Pura learns to make puppets. She snips and sews their clothes, paints their delicate faces. When I read this page, I noticed the author brought up seeds again. I think this is important to the story. What other time in the story did it talk about seeds? Do you remember that? What do you think?
It was like when she first got into the library, she said that the library was lucky to have her because she's gonna plant and grow.
Yeah. So it's brought it up twice. Do you think it's pretty important to the book? Probably. If a book keeps telling you something and your inner voice is thinking about it, you might want to hold on to it. It's probably important. Families come to hear folk tales in Inglés y en Español, to watch Pura's puppet dance across the stage of her stories. Here's the pictures so y'all can see. They're doing the puppets of her cockroach and her mouse. Yeah, so she's bringing the books to life. Super cool. But the library needs libros for its shelves. How can more children read Perez y Martina and other Cuentos de Puerto Rico? Pura puts her story in an envelope and mails it to Frederick Warren, a publisher. There's a picture. That's New York. That's Pura. Soon, Perez y Martina is a book. Now a published author, puppeteer, and storyteller, Pura travels from branch to branch, classroom to classroom, to churches and community centers, planting her story's seeds. In the hearts and minds of children new to this island who wish to remember la lengua y los colores of home. So that means the words of their home. Other people want to hear their home too, in books. Have you ever been to a new place that is unfamiliar and does not feel like home? How did it make you feel? Have you ever been somewhere that was unfamiliar and not like home? Come on,
Yes.
Go ahead.
So when we went to Texas, at first I really didn't feel comfortable because I didn't know my surroundings as much. I didn't know where places was. But a couple days later, I really liked it because it had so much things to do and it just felt fun to actually go some places.
Yeah.
By the time we left, I was really sad that we left because I really liked it.
You really liked it. When you first got there, you weren't too comfortable, right? Until you started finding things that you resonated with, that you agreed with, right? That you liked to do. So then it made it feel more like home. Miley, what about you?
We went to Arizona one time to take my older brother for college, and he took everyone at our house. And I didn't feel comfortable because we had to stay in the car
For a long time. Yeah.
And when we got there, we had to sleep in a hotel.
So it wasn't like home, right? So what I'm hearing is you might feel homesick, maybe unseen, unincluded. What if you saw something that reminded you of your home or your culture? If I saw something that reminded me of my home and my culture, how would you feel? Like in Texas, how would you feel when you found something like that?
I was excited to know that they had something from my home because I really missed it. I wasn't sure if I was gonna like it there.
Ruby, do you have anything? If you were somewhere you didn't like and something reminded you of home, how would you feel? You'd feel happy, right? Because it reminds you of home. I agree. Good job, Ruby. Writing, learning, speaking, teaching, traveling. Pura does not slow down until, like the beautiful Martina, she meets her Perez. Let's see what that means. On a December day in New York, Pura marries the musician Clarence Cameron White. Un año away from the library, she decides 1 year to start a new life as a wife. But a year stretches on. Together they travel to new cities. Clarence plays his music. Pura tells her stories. There's that picture. That's them getting married. That's them playing their music and telling their stories. They are happy years of music and writing. Separations and reunions, friends, family, and stories, always. Until on a June day in New York, Clarence stops playing his music and Pura's story must begin again. It is 1961. Pura returns to the library. There are others now, storytellers, who make puppet dance, who read Perez Martina, The Tiger and the Rabbit, Juan Bobo, The Three Magi, and many more of Pura's stories to the children. Let's think back to the beginning of the book and the library that we saw. What do we notice about this library and how does it compare to the first library? Come on.
When she first went to the library, it was like gloomy. There's only adults and nobody looked happy. But now there's a bunch of children. Everybody looks happy. The library looks more colorful than before.
I agree. Do all of the kids look the same?
No.
Like, do they all look like me? Do they all look like Kamaya? Do they all look like Mason? Do they all look like Mateo?
No.
Everybody's different, right?
Yeah.
It's not all one group of people. Everybody's different. That's awesome. It does make the library more fun.
Because you get to know other people's cultures.
The seeds she has planted, the roots that grew shoots into the open air of possibility, have become a lush landscape into which she steps as though she has never left. When I read this, I see how far Pura and her library have come. How did she overcome the problems she faced in the beginning of the story? Kamaya.
At the beginning, she didn't really feel like she liked this place because it was gloomy. But then she wanted to make in the middle of the story she decided to plant and make the library plant and grow, and then at the end of the story all her dreams came true of like the library finally getting like colors and plants and stuff.
So she got her dream of it being colorful and amazing. What did she get to share with these people that she wasn't going to share with at the beginning? Mason, what do you think?
I think it was stories.
Stories? Her stories from where? Where are these stories from? You can say that. Her culture? Her culture, right?
Oh, I thought it was Puerto Rico.
Puerto Rico. That's where she's from. That is her culture.
Oh.
That's important to her, right? So that's right. Miley, Mason, Kamaya, all right. Ruby, what do you think? You think the same thing? You do? She got to share her stories from home? And that made things more colorful and amazing. She felt like she was at home again. So she solved her problem, right? She showed up, none of her stories. She wrote her own. She made the change, right?
Yep.
I agree. That's amazing. Y'all did absolutely
Can you show us now?
amazing. Yes, I will.